December 2024, Santon. Police arrest Katiso Molefe, a businessman earning 200,000 Rand per month, living in a 17 million Rand estate. The charge is masterminding 4 execution-style murders. The evidence? 1 AK-47, a trail of WhatsApp messages, and bank deposits that tell a chilling story. Now, Molefe wasn't some shadowy figure operating from the margins. He owned legitimate businesses in automotive and aviation. Former Transnet employee turned entrepreneur. No criminal record. Living openly in Johannesburg's wealthiest district. Yet the South African Police Service's Political Killings Task Team had been watching him. This elite unit doesn't handle ordinary murders. They investigate assassinations of public figures, cases with political implications. Their involvement signals something deeper at work. The arrest operation was coordinated across multiple agencies: SAP's Crime Intelligence, the Hawks, local detectives. They didn't just take Molefe. 3 other men were detained simultaneously: Musa Kakana, Michael Pule-Tau, and Floyd Mabasela. According to prosecutors, these were the gunmen, the ones who pulled the triggers while Molefe allegedly pulled the strings. In court documents, Molefe appears as accused 4. The others are numbered 1 through 3. This numbering matters because it reflects what investigators believe was a hierarchy. Molefe at the top, money flowing down, bullets flying out. But on paper, he remained simply a businessman. 2 luxury vehicles in the garage, a Mercedes-Benz V-Class and a Range Rover. Business interests generating that monthly 200,000. A life that looked successful, legitimate, enviable even. Then came the charges. 4 counts of murder. 4 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. Illegal firearms possession. Each murder corresponding to a specific victim. Upa DJ Somebody Sofoka, killed November 17, 2022. Hector DJ Vintos Buthelezi, killed March 13, 2022. Don Tindleni, killed March 9, 2023. Armand Swart, killed April 17, 2024. Names that meant nothing together until investigators found the thread connecting them. The Alexandra Magistrates Court became the stage for this drama. Molefe appeared via video link, his lawyers arguing for bail. They painted him as a pillar of the community, a family man with deep roots in Gauteng. The prosecution painted him as a dangerous criminal who orchestrated death from his Santon office. The magistrate had to decide which portrait was real. The thread was metal, specifically an AK-47 assault rifle that forensic experts say fired bullets at 4 different crime scenes across 2 years. This wasn't speculation. Ballistics reports presented in August 2025 matched bullet fragments and cartridge cases from each location. The Somebody scene in Woodmead, the Vintos scene in Soweto, the Swart scene in Vereeniging, the Tindleni scene on the N1 highway. Same weapon, same rifling marks, same story written in lead and copper. Police found the rifle at Michael Pule-Tau's residence. Tau, listed as accused 1 in court papers. The alleged triggerman who prosecutors say received payments from Molefe after the hits. But finding the weapon was just the beginning. What mattered was proving who ordered its use. In South African law, possession of an unlicensed AK-47 is already a serious crime. These weapons are illegal for civilians. But the rifle told a bigger story. 4 crime scenes spread across Johannesburg and surrounding areas. Different victims with different lives. A club owner, a DJ, a businessman, an engineer. On the surface, no connection. Until you look at the bullets. Forensic specialists use comparison microscopes to examine fired bullets and casings. Every gun barrel has unique imperfections that leave distinctive marks, like fingerprints in metal. These marks proved that whoever killed DJ Somebody also killed the others. 1 weapon meant 1 network, and networks need leaders. The ballistics evidence transformed 4 separate investigations into 1 case. Detectives who had been working isolated murders suddenly saw a pattern. Professional execution-style killings, multiple shooters, daylight ambushes, what they call hail of bullets attacks, overwhelming firepower designed to ensure no survival. This wasn't random violence or gang rivalry, this was targeted assassination. The AK-47 itself tells a story about South Africa's illegal arms trade. These weapons flow across borders, through criminal networks, into the hands of those who kill for money. That this particular rifle was used repeatedly suggests either confidence or necessity. The killers kept using it because they believed they wouldn't be caught, or because obtaining new weapons for each hit was too risky or expensive. Now, bullets tell one story, money tells another. And in the Molefe case, prosecutors say the money story starts with WhatsApp, November 21st to 22, 2022, less than a week after DJ Somebody's murder. Messages fly between suspects. In these chats, someone identified as Accused 2, that's Floyd Mabusela, urges Accused 3, Musa Kakana, to have Accused 1, Michael Tao, call someone known only as K. The purpose? Arrange payment. K becomes the case's central mystery. Prosecutors insist K is Katiso Molefe. The defense says prove it, but the timing is hard to ignore. DJ Somebody dies November 17th. By November 21st, the alleged killers are discussing payment with K. This isn't weeks or months later. This is immediately after the blood dries. Bank records add another layer. Investigators uncovered what they call a clear pattern. Large cash deposits appearing in accounts immediately following each murder, not wire transfers that leave clear trails. Cash. The kind that's hard to trace unless you know where to look. And prosecutors knew where to look. The money moved through multiple accounts, from Molefe's legitimate businesses to the accused gunmen. Investigators testified about deposits matching the timeline of killings. After Somebody, substantial cash deposits. After Vintos, more deposits. After Tindleni, the pattern continues. After Swart, same story. Each murder allegedly followed by payment. Each payment allegedly traceable to Molefe. 200,000 rand here, similar amounts there. Prosecutors call these hit fees, the going rate for assassination in South Africa. Molefe's defense argues these were legitimate business transactions, but legitimate businesses don't usually pay cash immediately after murders happen. And they definitely don't coordinate payments through WhatsApp messages discussing recent killings. The financial forensics team mapped these flows, money leaving Molefe's accounts, entering his co-accused's accounts, always after a victim died. They found deposit slips, bank statements. The paper trail that criminals often forget exists because they're focused on avoiding the digital one. But in modern banking, everything leaves a trace. What's particularly damning is the consistency. The amounts were similar for each hit, suggesting a price structure. This wasn't random money movement, but allegedly a business model, murder as a service, with standard rates and payment terms. The kind of operation that requires someone at the top managing finances, someone at the bottom pulling triggers, and someone in between coordinating logistics. April 17, 2024. Vereniging. An engineer named Armand Swart stops his car. Shooters approach. Multiple bullets fired. Swart dies. But here's what makes this murder different from the others. Armand Swart wasn't supposed to die. Swart worked for a company dealing with Transnet freight rail. He'd discovered something that should have made him a hero, not a target. A simple railway part that should cost 3 rand and 20 cents was being sold to Transnet for 152 rand. That's a 4,650% markup. On an 8,000 unit contract, this inflation turned 25,000 rand into 1.2 million rand. Swart did what whistleblowers do. He reported it. The fraud was massive, systemic, the kind that bleeds state enterprises dry while someone gets rich. But according to investigators, Molefe was allegedly benefiting from this inflated tender. When Swart exposed the scheme, someone allegedly decided he needed to be silenced. Except the hitmen got the wrong person. They thought Swart was the CEO, the actual target. Forensic evidence proved this through trajectory analysis, positioning, the way the shooting unfolded. The killers were hunting bigger game and shot the whistleblower by mistake. This error would become crucial evidence because it showed planning, intention, a specific target that reveals motive. Think about what this means. A low-level engineer stumbles onto corruption, reports it through proper channels, and ends up dead because someone confused him with his boss. The mistake connects 2 crimes, tender fraud and murder. It shows how corruption doesn't just steal money, it kills people who try to stop it. Molefe himself was a former Transnet employee. He knew the system, understood the contracts, had connections. Prosecutors argue this background made him perfectly positioned to manipulate tenders and eliminate threats. The Swart murder wasn't random violence. It was allegedly corporate cleanup that went wrong. The Transnet connection opens another disturbing chapter. How many other whistleblowers have been silenced? How many other tenders inflated? How many other companies involved in similar schemes? Swart's death might be the visible tip of a much darker reality where exposing corruption carries a death sentence. This case also highlights the vulnerability of whistleblowers in South Africa. The Protected Disclosures Act supposedly shields those who expose corruption, but laws on paper don't stop bullets. Swart followed the rules, used proper channels, trusted the system. The system failed to protect him. His murder sends a chilling message to anyone else considering exposing fraud. Speaking up might cost your life. 4 murders across 2 years. Different victims, different locations, but look closer and the pattern becomes obvious. March 13, 2022. DJ Vintos, real name Hector Buthelezi, leaves a nightclub in Orlando East, Soweto. Shooters waiting, multiple bullets, dead outside the venue where he'd just been playing music. The community lost an entertainer, a role model, someone who brought joy to people's lives. November 17, 2022. DJ Somebody, born Upa John Sofoka, drives through Woodmead with 2 bodyguards. A car blocks them. Shooters emerge. All 3 men killed in what witnesses describe as an ambush. The bodyguards were collateral damage. Somebody was the target. He owned a popular Pretoria club, moved in business circles, had the kind of success that makes enemies. March 9, 2023. Don Tindleni, a Sandton businessman, takes the N1 highway. At the off-ramp, vehicles converge. The familiar hail of bullets. Tindleni doesn't survive. Investigators initially treat this as possibly business-related, maybe hijacking, until the ballistics match the others. April 17, 2024. Armand Swart in Vereeniging. We already know this story. The mistaken identity, the transnet connection, the whistleblower who died for someone else's crimes. Each killing happened in broad daylight or early evening. No hiding in shadows. These weren't secretive assassinations but bold statements. The shooters used overwhelming firepower, what investigators call overkill. Not 1 or 2 bullets, but dozens. The kind of shooting that sends a message, we don't miss. Multiple attackers participated in each hit. This wasn't a lone gunman operation, but coordinated teams. Someone driving, someone shooting, someone watching. Professional work requires professional planning, and professional planning requires professional payment. The vehicles used in these crimes tell their own story. A BMW X3 linked to the Vintos hit. Cars positioned to block escape routes. Chase vehicles ready if targets tried to run. This level of coordination doesn't happen spontaneously. Someone orchestrated these movements, timed these attacks, chose these locations. Look at the victims themselves. 2 DJs who were public figures, beloved in their communities. A businessman with connections. An engineer who exposed corruption. What connects them? According to prosecutors, they all crossed paths with Molefe's interests. Some through business, some through circumstance, some through terrible mistakes like being confused for someone else. The geographic spread matters too. Soweto to Sandton, Woodmead to Vereeniging. These aren't neighborhoods where random violence looks the same. Each location required different planning, different escape routes, different risks. Yet the execution method remained consistent. This suggests a team that could adapt tactics while maintaining their signature approach. Now we reach the edges of what we know, the places where evidence meets mystery and investigations hit walls. Who is K? This remains the prosecution's biggest challenge. Those WhatsApp messages discussing payment could be the smoking gun if they definitively prove K is Katiso Molefe. But defense lawyers argue a letter isn't evidence. Anyone could be K. The state needs more than assumption. They need proof that when the killers typed K, they meant the businessman from Sandton. Then there's Kenny Kunene, former Johannesburg city official, Patriotic Alliance politician. A man who oversaw local government contracts suddenly appears at Molefe's home in late July 2025. Shortly after, Kunene resigns from his position. His boss, Gayton McKenzie, publicly reveals the visit. Kunene offers no clear explanation. The timing raises questions nobody's answering. What was discussed in that meeting? Was it business, politics, or something darker? Kunene's portfolio included oversight of contracts worth millions. Molefe allegedly manipulated tenders for profit. The overlap is obvious, but overlap isn't evidence. Still, Kunene's hasty resignation suggests he knew the optics were terrible. Or perhaps he knew more than just the optics. Police commissioners can't even agree on what happened during Molefe's arrest. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nalanda Mkhwanazi describes Molefe as a dangerous criminal who ordered hits, but retired Hawks chief Godfrey Lebeya denies claims that he had improper contact with Molefe. These conflicting statements from law enforcement create doubt. If the police can't agree on basic facts, what else might be disputed? The broader network remains undefined. Prosecutors hint at something bigger: more victims, more conspirators, more money flowing through more accounts. But hints aren't indictments. The 4 murders they've linked might be just the visible part of something larger, or they might be everything. Without more arrests, more evidence, we're left guessing at the true scope. There's also the question of Lucky Molefe, mentioned in the Swart investigation. Same surname, different person, but somehow connected to the case. A fugitive search warrant was issued for him. Is this coincidence, family connection, or evidence of a broader Molefe network operating across multiple criminal enterprises? The investigation hasn't clarified these relationships. South Africa's conviction rate for murder sits around 20%. High-profile cases often collapse when evidence gets challenged, witnesses disappear, or procedural errors emerge. The state claims overwhelming evidence against Molefe, but overwhelming evidence has failed before in South African courts. Money buys good lawyers. Good lawyers find holes. Holes create reasonable doubt. Consider what's at stake here. If Molefe is convicted, it proves that even wealthy businessmen can't escape justice for ordering murders. If he walks free, it suggests that contract killing remains a viable business model for those with enough money and connections. Either outcome sends a message about how South Africa handles the intersection of business, crime, and violence. The bail hearings continue. Molefe appears via video link from custody. His lawyers argue he's not a flight risk, pointing to his family ties, his businesses, his roots in Gauteng. Prosecutors counter with the severity of charges, the weight of evidence, the risk to public safety. The magistrate weighs these arguments while South Africa watches. Meanwhile, those WhatsApp messages sit in evidence folders. Call K. Arrange payment. Words that might be casual business or might be murder contracts. The prosecution needs to prove which. The defense just needs to create doubt. And what about the others who might have received payments? The investigation revealed a broader pattern of money movement, but not all recipients have been identified. Some cash disappeared into accounts that led nowhere. Some transactions pointed to people who've never been charged. Are they innocent bystanders or clever criminals who covered their tracks better? The weapons question extends beyond the single AK-47. 4 murders suggest more guns, more ammunition, more supplies. Where did these come from? Who provided them? The illegal arms trade in South Africa connects to broader criminal networks. Did Molefe's alleged hit squad tap into these networks, or were they self-sufficient? Then there's the question of other potential targets. If this was truly a murder-for-hire operation, were there clients beyond whatever interests Molefe allegedly represented? Did the same gunmen carry out other hits with different weapons? The ballistics only prove what the one AK-47 did. Other weapons might tell other stories. The role of corrupt officials remains murky. Contract killings of this sophistication often require inside information. Who knew where targets would be? Who provided schedules, routes, security details? The investigation hasn't revealed these enablers, if they exist. But professional hits rarely succeed without someone on the inside providing intelligence. There's also the uncomfortable question of why it took so long to connect these murders. DJ Vintos died in March 2022. The arrests came in December 2024. That's nearly 3 years during which the alleged killers operated freely. How many other victims might there be in that window? How many other crimes committed with weapons we haven't found yet? The victims' families wait for justice while these questions hang unanswered. DJ Somebody's death shocked the entertainment industry. DJ Vintos was building his career when bullets ended it. Don Tindleni's business dealings remain partially mysterious. Armand Swart's family knows he died for exposing corruption, killed by mistake in someone else's war. As this case moves toward trial, South Africa confronts uncomfortable truths about how business gets done, how problems get solved, how silence gets enforced. Contract killing has become so normalized that there's an entire police unit dedicated to political assassinations. Think about what that means for a democracy. When murder becomes a business tool, everyone becomes a potential target or a potential client. The Molefe case isn't just about one businessman or 4 murders. It's about a system where exposing corruption can get you killed, where wealth might buy assassination as easily as advertising, where the line between legitimate business and organized crime blurs until nobody can see it clearly anymore. We know an AK-47 killed 4 people. We know money moved after each murder. We know WhatsApp messages discussed payments to K. We know Molefe sits in custody while courts decide his fate. What we don't know is whether South African justice can untangle this web of bullets, bites, and bank transfers to find truth underneath. The prosecutors say they have overwhelming evidence. The defense says prove it. The magistrate says wait while I decide. And South Africa says we've seen this before. High-profile suspects, serious charges, cases that seemed certain until they weren't. This is where we stand. 4 people dead, 1 businessman accused, 3 alleged gunmen arrested, millions of rand flowing through accounts, 1 rifle telling part of the story, WhatsApp messages suggesting the rest, a justice system trying to prove that money and murder can't combine without consequence. But the questions remain. Who is K? Who else got paid? Who else got shot? Who made the decisions that turned business disputes into body counts? And perhaps most importantly, will anyone actually be held accountable when the final verdict comes? These aren't just legal questions. They're questions about what kind of country South Africa becomes when contract killing operates like any other business, with payments and receipts and customer service. When whistleblowers die for doing the right thing. When wealthy businessmen might also be murder brokers. When nobody knows where legitimate commerce ends and blood money begins. The trial ahead will test more than evidence. It will test whether South Africa can hold powerful people accountable for the ultimate crime, whether forensic science beats financial influence, whether justice works when the accused has millions and the victims have only graves. Until then, we have fragments, an arrest in December, bullets that match, money that moved, messages about K, a businessman who says he's innocent, prosecutors who say he's guilty, and 4 families who know someone they loved is dead, killed by the same gun, possibly ordered by the same man, definitely part of the same dark story that South Africa is still trying to understand.